Well, it's been a while, as the song goes, and what have I been up to in all of that time? I didn't hear you ask. Well, I'll tell you. I was asked, after the Addams Family, I was asked to write an article for the NODA, which is the National Organisation for the Dramatic Arts, darling, for their magazine. And they wanted me to concentrate on me and my journey towards being a volunteer theatrical translator. And I said, no, I'll write you an article, but it has to be about the audience which I serve. It cannot be about me. It has to be about them. So I wrote them a 2-page article about the importance of inclusivity and at least thinking about the deaf audience. Anyway, it went out fine. I had a couple of people come back to me on that. A couple have asked me for acting coaching, which it doesn't say I do, and which I would never even think about. But anyway, the upshot is I got asked to go to the NODA celebration and AGM, the London branch. So that's where I've been today. And again, they asked me to do a sort of 10, 20-minute presentation on my journey to becoming a translator and what it involves and what have you. And I said, no, again, it has to be about promoting inclusivity. So what we agreed is that I would do a couple of songs and I would get introduced and I would also sign the introduction. Okay, no problem. Got there. I had a little table in the foyer, so I got some business cards and put them on my table in a nice fan shape, and I put some posters of the shows that I've already done, and I made a little poster to say who I was. So put that there, sat there, had a bit of a chat with some of the NODA representatives. It was all very nice, and then went backstage, talked to the tech guys, no problem, sorted it all out. And then went backstage to await my go. So anyway, I was on straight after 5 lesbians eating a quiche, which looks like a really fun show, actually. Not musical, but how would you? Anyway, she did the introduction. I signed the introduction. Then I did Part of Your World, get the metaphor. And then she did another introduction to the next one, which was Freak Flag from Shrek, which is all about not wanting to feel different. And even if you are different, it doesn't matter because everybody deserves kindness. Yeah, let's hammer home that message, shall we? So we did it, and then it was buffet time. I sneaked a cheese and pickle and stood next to my little table in the foyer, and people came over to chat to me. And, you have the usual hearing person thing of like, oh, that was brilliant. You don't know that I made a mistake halfway through Part of Your World. But, okay, fine. And quite a few people were saying, oh, can we have your card? We'll come back to you. And I sort of said to you, yeah, okay, I'm booked for the rest of this year, but I'm looking for something sort of January, February, and then I'm booked March, April. But, it's nice for you to think about it. Anyway, 2 recurring themes came up during the day, which I just had to talk to you about. The first was, if we pay to have somebody, even a lay interpreter or a lay translator, somebody who's not professionally qualified, not charging thousands, if we pay a couple of £100 for this person to come along and do our show, but then no deaf people turn up, is it worth it? And my answer to that was, you should be thinking about if you want to be inclusive and if you can afford £200 to pay somebody to translate and deliver your show. Whoever decides that your show is interesting to them and wants to buy a ticket to come to see your show, that's none of your fucking business. And would you be asking that question if you wanted to get more gay people in, or black people, or Muslims, or whatever? would you be asking that question so overtly? Is it worth spending £200 if no deaf people turn up? How fucking dare you ask that question? But that is what kept coming up all day. People were saying, well, we don't really have a lot of money and we don't really want to spend it all for nothing. For nothing. Well, no. If it costs your group, your committee, your treasurer, whoever, 200 quid, 150 quid, whatever you're paying your lay translator, to welcome in a diverse and inclusive audience, irrespective of who that audience might be, I think that's money well spent. If you don't, then I don't think you're ready for inclusivity yet, thank you. And I really don't want to talk to you or be a part of your group if that is the question you're going to ask. So that was issue number 1. Issue number 2 was this. People kept coming over and thanking me for raising awareness. Thank you so much for raising our awareness of the deaf audience. Thank you so much for raising our awareness of BSL. Thank you very much for raising our awareness of how BSL works in the theatre. Okay, but that's not what I was there for. I wrote the article and I turned up today to do my presentation and to have my little table in the foyer with only one thought in my head. And that thought is, I am going to shame you into doing this. I am going to shame you into becoming inclusive, not just to the deaf audience, but to a neurodivergent audience, whoever. I am going to make you feel so uncomfortable about not considering every single audience member and how you can make your show and your group more accessible to them, that you are going to be so afraid not to at least consider it in case you look like a dick. That is my goal. I'm not going to raise awareness of deaf people. I'm not deaf. I'm not going to raise awareness of BSL performances because they have been around for several decades. If you do not know what a BSL performance is or the fact that they are available, then do you live in a cave? And if you do not know that audiences are made up of various members of society, adults, children, gay, straight, black, Muslim, Jewish, disabled, neurodivergent, all the above and millions more, who might want to do you the favour of purchasing a ticket and coming to see your show. That's what my goal was. It was not to gently nudge, which is the byword of the moment, nudge groups towards these people who they maybe had never even crossed their minds to think about before. My job today, in that article and in my performance and in my being there today, was, there was no, what's the word? Subtlety. There was no subtlety about it. The 2 songs that I picked, Part of Your World, Wish I Could Be Part of Your World. And the second song, Let Your Freak Flag Wave, which starts with, we spent our whole lives wishing we weren't so freaking strange. They made us feel that way, but it's they who need to change. There's no subtlety in that, my friend. If I'd have gone on stage with a sledgehammer, it couldn't have been more obvious. So, yeah, interesting day. For me personally, I did a lot of networking, and while I handed out quite a few cards, even to people who were just walking by with a sandwich, like, here we go, have one of these. I kind of thought in the back of my mind that I would have sort of a queue of directors or a queue of group leaders coming to me to go, oh my God, that's so wonderful. We want to book you immediately. And that didn't happen. I had one group come to me and say, well, yeah, all right, we'd be interested. Can we have a card? So that didn't happen. But that's what networking is. You talk to somebody and give them your card. And then they see what you do on stage, and then they talk to somebody who talks to somebody who talks to somebody, and before you know it, you've got an email from somebody to saying, we would very much like you to come over. And anyway, I'm booked up for the rest of this year. So even if somebody did come up to me today and say, that was brilliant, I know, that was brilliant, we really want you to do this show in October. No, I can't, I'm booked. So yeah, it was interesting from a networking point of view. It was interesting from a finding out what NODA actually does and what their influence is. And it was good to talk to people and to see people who I've worked with before. So many people who are either performing or just there to watch today. I've known them from groups that I've worked with. So it was really nice to say hello and catch up. So yeah, it was a really productive day, I think. But if I've achieved one thing today, it is that group members will go back to their groups and say, we really should be doing this. This is something that we can't afford not to do because we will look like ableist discriminators, and we can't have that, not in this day and age, not in these more enlightened and post-COVID kinder and compassionate times. You cannot have a group like a group that I had in the past where I offered to do Jesus Christ Superstar for them for free because I love that musical. It's my absolute favourite. And they were in the same town as me. And I went to them and went, I will do this for free for you. Here's a link to my video so you can see me in action. This is what I do. Here's my leaflet. Please let me do Jesus Christ Superstar for you. And they came back to me and said, deaf people shouldn't go to see a musical because they can't hear the music, so what's the point? And that, my friends, is what I have to battle against all the time. And I'm trying to advocate for the deaf audience while being hearing. And it's tough because you don't know if you're overstepping or you're not saying enough. But because I'm hearing, I know how to talk to other hearing people and encouraging them to be diverse. And encouraging them to be inclusive for their cast, for their committee, for their audience. That's all very nice. It's all very nice and well and good. And you saying, hi, don't forget your deaf audience. Like, yeah. We're sorting out costumes today. We're sorting out lighting today. We'll think about it next time. It only goes so far. But it's kind of like advertising. They advertise products to you on TV like toothpaste, and they do it in such a way that you feel scared not to go out and buy that toothpaste because otherwise you will have the ugliest teeth since Austin Powers. And that is what I did today. Yeah. Instead of saying to people, it would be nice, I've raised your awareness of this issue now, and it'd be nice if in the future you would consider it. No, what I did today is say, in so many words, if you do not consider all your audience, irrespective of whether you know that they're going to be in that auditorium or not, if you do not consider the needs and the wishes and the rights of your potential paying customers, then you, my friend, are a dick. And it'll come back to bite you in the ass. Oh, shit. I should have been a politician. I'd have made a terrible diplomat, but I'd be a very, very good politician, I think. So anyway, that's where we're up to. I am going to the group that I did Shrek with, the second Shrek last year, to pick up the script for Elf, that we're doing in November. It's going to be really weird doing Elf during the hot summer months, but I've bought a new tie with candy canes on it, so looking forward to that. I've also have the script for White Christmas, so I'll be starting that in August maybe. But this month, it is June. Next weekend, I'm going to start on Sister Act. Yay! Really looking forward to that. So I'm going to start Sister Act next week, and I've got 3 full months to do Sister Act, so I'm just going to take my time. Done it before, so all I have to do really is sort of revise and upgrade according to my skills now, because I would like to think that my skills have improved since the last time I did it in 2019. So, I mean, like when I did Part Your World today, I changed it and I only did it like a month ago. So yeah, everything changes. And I've given my card to a couple of people who have lay translators in their groups who are just starting to sort of want to get on stage to do it. And they're a little bit nervous, and they need basically somebody to mentor them. And while I have thought about sort of linking up with other lay translators, it's too much like a professional organisation. I don't want that. It'd be nice to chat to people and get some feedback from them or what have you, but I don't really want to get into all of that. You know, let's create this inclusive group, because, you know, there's so many of us and we're all over the place, and sometimes people do it for a long time, sometimes they don't. So anyway, I've given my card to these people and said, look, if you're in any kind of difficulty, or if you want to send me some videos and you want some feedback, and then I can do the same with you. If you want to know the logistics of dealing with tech rehearsals and stuff, I am more than happy to give my time to anybody else who is foolish enough to do this. So there you go. I'm going to go and take my makeup off now, because it's about 8,000 degrees outside and I feel like one of the Nazis whose face melts off at the end of Raiders. So I will catch up with you in a couple of months when it's Sister Act. Bye.